Watson trusts and likes Flores and has been adamant internally that he'd like to play for him next season. Now you can get wronged football coach and he comes with a quarterback. Now it can be a free agent package that immediately makes your team something, and he's aligning himself with an alleged sexual predator in order to do it. If that story is true, just as a hypothetical, you've now escalated the stakes on what it is that the Flores-Watson relationship is and what you'd have to be compromising in order to bring Deshaun Watson in, because you really not only want Deshaun Watson, but now you want his coach. Is this true? Can this be true?
Well, do you want the coach because he helps you get Deshaun Watson, right?
But does the coach not immediately become more valuable because he helps you get Deshaun Watson?
Of course it increases his value. How
Like
could it not?
If it's a partnership package deal of
yes,
two guys who now have some power combining their forces to come over because your fan base really needs that Giants fan base, Stugotz. You don't think they need somebody in charge who's going to bring them something that can play quarterback?
Yeah, but it could also be held against him, right? As he's trying to get these jobs, it's a massive red flag right now, the Deshaun Watson stuff. You don't even know if he's going to play next year.
But Mike, if he's cleared, if Deshaun Watson is cleared of these charges, okay, and you have the coach.
All 23.
All 23, Mike.
And it should be noted, like, no formal charges have been brought against him. These are, like,
Let's do it this way, okay?
But if your team has the coach that can get the quarterback.
Let me start here, okay? Because I always err. I don't want to normalize where Deshaun Watson exists in this weird purgatory of he's an alleged sexual predator, and now we immediately go to talking about and what's he worth and what's his value and who should get him, and it just goes back to the same thing of a team might trade everything to get those two guys. I'm just interested in the construct of what's entering here. A partnership. What he's reporting is a partnership that you have not seen before, which is not just that I get the Belichick disciple, but he brings with him the quarterback that he wants. And furthermore, I'm selling my franchise's soul to get it because of what the quarterback stands accused of. And I am inviting into my huddle everyone with, we'll compromise anything in order to win.
And in any other scenario, this would all be considered very clear tampering, as Deshaun Watson is a member of the Houston Texans. And this communication reportedly dates back to Brian Flores' time in Miami, where he was reportedly the driving force behind acquiring Deshaun Watson down here. Deshaun Watson has the power to do this because you would think, okay, in the scenario where Deshaun Watson is playing next year, multiple teams are interested, it's a free market. Do the New York Giants even have the draft capital to pull off such a thing? Well, Deshaun Watson has no trade clause, and that's how he has this level of power.
Mike, I'm fascinated, okay, if you can somehow get past all the dirty that is here, because the starting point on this is we have no idea if Deshaun Watson is criminally or civilly liable of being a sexual predator. And we have no idea when or if he's going to play or what the legal system is going to do with him. But Brian Flores, if this is true, Brian Flores just made himself the most coveted free agent coaching candidate that is out there because he comes with a quarterback.
He comes armed with a quarterback.
Possibility, right. A relationship possibility that he's right now
a great quarterback
in free agency. He's just surveying his options. Like it's to me, I've been surprised Flores hasn't already been hired. But if he's stepping back to link up so that he can realize a quarterback coaching partnership that we have not seen enter free agency together under the weirdest of circumstances for both of them, I think you're watching something play out with the business mechanics of this that is really dirty, that you will see right now. Somebody will talk themselves into, oh, I could do it if you're giving me a coach and a quarterback, and I don't have to trade anything for the coach, and I need a new coach because the Gettleman situation was a total disaster. I got a total clown show. New York hasn't been relevant in football in a minute.
They haven't been above 500 in 5 years. 5 years.
Who's willing to sell their soul? Is it the organization that tried to change the rules because it's Wellington Mara's kid?
Well, if you're looking for the best place for it, it's actually Houston, because they don't have to give up anything to get Deshaun Watson. they have him there. Therefore, your future is pretty secured because you still have pretty good draft picks. You have a quarterback in Davis Mills that would be a market for him. I'm not exactly sure what, but he played well enough.
But Mike, he doesn't want to play there. Deshaun doesn't want to play there. I'm not saying his.
Deshaun wants to play for Brian Flores, according to this report. If Brian Flores is in Houston, that makes it easy. Now, it may be difficult. While it does make him a coveted free agent in some circumstances, including ones that are desperate for quarterbacks, it could be totally taking him off of candidate lists in other places.
Well, but I would say that the business of this makes that unlikely, especially if he's got the freedom right now that it doesn't have to come that way. He's negotiating what he wants to be his perfect deal. He's got free agency. It's really a great position to be in if you're Brian Flores. Because
he's competing for jobs, too. It's like LeBron wants to sign here, but Dwayne wants to sign here, too, and they got 32.
But do it this way, though, Mike. Just look at it from Brian Flores' agent's position. How do I climb toward progress through all the obstacles that the league puts in the way of people like me? I've learned from Belichick. I'm one of the few Belichick assistants who has shown you anything. And now I'm a free agent, and people are looking for leaders all over, and I've got multiple suitors, and can I make it more multiples by just saying, well, maybe I prefer that job. You're not considering me for that job? Well, what if I possibly brought you Deshaun Watson because of my relationship with him? You understand the game that's being played now. This is.
It's a gross game, but it opens up a lot of doors for Flores.
You could also get a better offensive coordinator because one of his Achilles heel down here in South Florida is no one wanted to coach for him on offense, and that's why he settled on Chan Gailey and the mishmash of offensive coordinators here. If you pursue an offensive coordinator that doesn't have to worry about you being a lame duck coach and gets Deshaun Watson to implement his offense with, it all of a sudden becomes a more likely scenario that he's able to draw a top OC.
But also combine these scenarios, not irrelevant ones. In the quest for power in a league that right now only has one black head coach, and the black head coach is the guy who's coached for 15 seasons and never had a losing one. That's how you stay employed as a black head coach in the NFL. Brian Flores, the way he did it, that's not how you stay employed, even though many of us thought he was wrong. Look at what is possibly being put together here if this is true, okay? Because I need to hit that one again and again because there's some character stuff here that's really unpleasant and dirty as you get to the business of it. But if progress for a black man in this sport is that he's gotten a partner with that flawed messenger because he represents value at the most valuable position so that both of them can climb to a place higher, teamwork in black power, because Deshaun Watson's power flex here has been a substantive one. You don't see quarterbacks in their prime say, I don't want to play here anymore.
Yeah, like a quarterback just say, no, Philadelphia Eagles, I know they won a Super Bowl and that's a good NFL city. I'm not going there. And you're wondering, what are your options here, Deshaun? Why are you in a position to turn down the Philadelphia Eagles? It's because he wants to explore option A. I think that I fully believe this report. Schultz does seem pretty plugged in, and he speaks with a lot of conviction on these things, and he provides a lot of details. And plus, we know this about Brian Flores. We know that he wants Deshaun Watson, and we know Deshaun Watson wants to be with Brian Flores, so it would seem obvious.
We know now, though, Mike. You say we know this with Brian Flores.
No, we know this now.
We didn't know, right?
But I'm still not sure what's real there is what I'm telling you. Like,
how many people have to tell you
Wait a minute, Mike. No, wait a minute. This isn't right.
You just have an outside source right now. You were asking for more reporting on the Deshaun Watson.
I spent a year being told by every insider that it wasn't Flores on Deshaun, that it was Stephen Ross, every insider. And then Adam Schefter on Instagram says the opposite of that, and that's the truth after a year of something else was the truth.
I mean, Schefter's usually spot on, is he not?
That's a whole another ball of wax, but
I want to stay there for a second, please. Like, please help me stay here for a second. What's true? Like, what's true with Deshaun Watson and Brian Flores? What's true with Deshaun Watson as a criminal, as an alleged criminal?
Well, I think it's fairly obvious what's true, that Brian Flores fancies Deshaun Watson. He took interviews. Look, there's only 32 of these jobs, so it could be pure coincidence that he was pursuing the Houston Texans job. But you have another source now telling you there's something to the Deshaun Watson. Like,
if Stephen Ross wanted Deshaun Watson, he'd still be here. Flores would still be here, right?
look,
It
he
stands
asked
to
for,
reason
it was
he'd still
reported at
be
the
here.
deadline. Stephen Ross was looking for assurances in pursuing this deal for Brian Flores, who got some sort of consensus towards the end to the point that the owner took over the negotiations, not Greer. The owner took over and didn't get what he wanted from the NFL in terms of answers for Deshaun Watson. Stands to reason that this is the scenario. Is it the only scenario that you get Deshaun Watson? Is it the only scenario in which Brian Flores would choose you amongst his options? I don't know.
How gross is it though?
Super.
Yep.
It's
Super, and it's only gross because of what's going on with Deshaun Watson and those allegations.
Well,
Otherwise, you'd be on board, tampering and all.
No, but I would say what happened with Flores was pretty gross too. Like there's just a lot of gross around this. The smear campaign, the Flores being fired, and then all of a sudden the organization going to great lengths to give you every detail anonymously on what a mean, awful person he was.
The skating amongst your fan base because everybody was blaming the owner instead of you for being the driving force behind Deshaun Watson. You have to take that into account.
But it's
too.
all ugly, and I don't know what the truth is. It's all dirty, and we don't know the truth. Like
Well,
it's,
Brian Flores could give us his version of the truth. He hasn't.
But it seems, if you believe this report, not only does it behooves him to not say anything right now. Right now, he's just wronged the guy. There's nothing good that comes from him giving us his version of events because
You don't think the absence of a denial on some of these reports?
No,
is-
what I would
No,
say
he's
is,
the wrong coach
Mike,
right now, Mike.
Brian Flores, Mike, if he didn't get along with the Dolphin organization, if he was mean to everybody, Brian Flores is Tim Robbins in Shawshank Redemption. He crawled through miles of shit, and he comes out clean on the other side. He's got legitimate power right now. He hasn't taken a credibility hit, even with the smear campaign. Football's looking at that like, yeah, well, what? He's mean. Okay. I mean, okay.
No, he has a lot more credibility than the Dolphins organization does.
He got out clean.
So if it's a he said with Brian Flores and Stephen Ross and the Dolphins, after 3 years in Miami, like, no, Brian, you weren't the problem there. We trust you.
And Brian Flores what are the other assistants? Is it Mangini? Like, what are the other assistants?
Well, Vrabel has Belichick ties.
Okay,
Yep.
Vrabel, fair enough, but not an assistant.
They're
though.
loose. No,
He was a
played
player
with them.
for him.
Yeah, I don't know if he was on that staff. He went to college and really.
I don't think
conceived
Vrabel
there.
was on that staff with
Yeah,
Bill Belichick.
But
no.
he's often referred to as a Belichick guy.
Fair enough.
But the fact that he has the distance is obviously
Vrabel has
a different
done
personality
Vrabel
type.
has done some healing to the Belichick tree. He has poured a little fertilizer on it by being near the defensive Patriots huddle. But if you dominate the sport for 20 years, I mean, the Houston Texans are in this mess right now, and who is leading them is the Patriots' former team chaplain. Everybody who worked for the Patriots got hired by somebody in that league.
Outside of Vrabel, who has this like funny attitude. Yeah, you have something on Vrabel.
Well, no, he played for the Patriots. Like, that's not part of Belichick's coaching tree. He never coached under Bill Belichick.
I understand, but
Listen,
he's
I
referred
care
to
about the
like
tree.
He was Belichick's field general, but that's fair.
Put it on the poll, please, Whittingham. Are you surprised that Stugotz cares about the tree?
No, you have to care about the integrity of the tree. You have to. But most Belichick guys have the reputation that Brian Flores, with all these leaks out of Miami, have. Ornery, not people persons. They come in with this
I mean,
bravado.
Bob
and ego.
Kraft referred in the book, the Wickersham book, as to Belichick as that asshole. Like, it's not. I mean, okay, and
They're not pleasant people.
And what?
Patricia, like the list goes on and on of all these assistants that have left there coming in with that Belichick swag, and it doesn't work without the credentials.
But he's got it, is what I'm saying. And now he's got a piece that he can play with, and all of it should make you feel dirty and uncomfortable, and all of it will have us addicted to the television on Sunday, paying attention to the shining colors.